So let's talk about it. I'm just a girl.
You know that girl, I am just a girl too.
There's a creator on this app called I'm Just a Girl, and a lot of y'all don't like her.
All the discourse surrounding Just a Girl, I really have just one question.
And I'm just a girl.
Just a girl.
That lady, I'm just a girl.
No, because y'all are tearing that Just a Girl a whole new one.
I think the problem with I'm Just a Girl's content,
that Just a Girl lady, you cannot convince me that she don't hate black women.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Just a Girl show. Thank you guys for being here. Every time I hear my own, that little intro, it just always cracks me up. So it's always like, why not take all the negativity and turn it into something positive and combat the negativity? So thank you guys for being here. We have a special guest tonight, everybody. I'm really excited to have Elise here. For those who do not know, my goal with this show is to be able to have other women, primarily Black women, come here with me, have these conversations, and really just have some productive girl talk. So I really am looking forward to this conversation, and I hope everyone is excited to be here. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are not a subscriber already, and like the live, of course. And let's get into it. So Elise, welcome. If you want to introduce yourself, please do so. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much. So Elise, my platform is basically Advice from a Wife 101. You may have seen me several times coming across your For You page, but please go ahead, take a look at my content and follow along. I will be doing more of this type of thing, hopefully in the future. So looking forward to that.
Yes. So I appreciate you. I think it's really important, I know sometimes there's so much conversation around why, like, wives who typically just refrain from even talking on social media because it comes with a lot of backlash sometimes with trying to combat the negativity, especially around, just these conversations around men and women and how things can look different. So tell me a little bit about how long have you been married? What got you into just even having the courage? Because takes a lot of courage to
oh yeah, they're quick to tear you up.
A lot of courage.
Yes. So essentially I've been married for over 10 years, 11 years now. And I've always been marriage minded. I was the person who everybody had to tell to go and have fun. You're supposed to be like living it up in your 20s. But it just wasn't the thing for me. So early on, I decided that I needed to only date with intention, and I tried to stick true to that. And my husband and myself kind of made the moves from we were in our mid-20s. And so here we are today. I think the reason that I decided to kind of share my thoughts online and deal with the backlash, because there is a lot, is because unfortunately, women in healthy relationships don't want to share because they don't want to bring mess. They don't want to bring drama. So you kind of want to protect what you have. And I share that sentiment, but I think that it is so important. A lot of women today don't have women who share the good, who prepare you for the not so good and how to work through that. And so if what I'm sharing and all that it comes with is going to help prepare somebody else, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've been married. This year will be 9 years for me. So I think obviously, thank you. Same for you. Every year is another year. And I think that is the tough side of it, is because, people have a lot of, and again, I'm referring to Black women. Black women already have an image about marriage. They have an image about Black men in general. And I want to talk about that tonight, which is the conversation. Because a lot of times we are raised, many of us, to already have this very negative stigma regarding Black men, families, marriage. Like, it starts very, very young. And I talk a lot about that on my platform. I have talked about that before, that these are learned behaviors. Like, we're learning to hate one another, to hate Black men, to not trust Black men, to just not trust love. You're learning that at a very, very, very early age. So you have someone then trying to say hey girl, no, that's not true. I have a good Black man, or I have a good husband, or I have this. You can get it. And it comes with a lot where they almost feel like think you're better than, or you on this high horse, or again, of course, you're picky, or all the things, if you defend a Black man, Okay, here we go. If you defend a Black man, unfortunately, you could. It comes with a lot. You know what I'm saying? So that in itself is just a hard pill to swallow for a lot of women because they don't want you to. Here we go, guys.
It's gonna be one of those nights. It's just not gonna work with you.
Here we go. We're gonna go with it, okay? Until we get this thing going. So let me go ahead and share the first clip for you guys. I was contemplating of going back from this original live, and most of you might have seen this clip before. This some people may have not. At least you may have not seen this, but I'm going to open the show with this one particular clip, and then we are going to come back. I'm just going to switch this out because this is the topic of tonight.
Me up because I know how you believe. So.
Okay. Here we go, guys. It's again.
I think you can meet.
One of those nights. I'm pushing the volume down, not the video.
Let's get into it. Don't chew me up because I know how you believe this. Talk to so. I think Black men are all alike. I think Black men don't like Black women. I think you can meet 10 Black men on different dating sites and they all cheat and they don't respect their women. I think every other race values Black women other than Black men. I think the real gag is Black men don't like Black women. Like, they're cheaters. I'm convinced every Black guy is a cheater.
First and foremost, stop thinking.
So that is unfortunately a very, very, very clear black and white statement about all Black men. They're all cheaters. They're all liars. They're all bad. Have you seen that before, or what are your thoughts if you haven't seen it before?
So I haven't seen that particular clip before. I think it is extremely sad, but I will tell you this. It's sad because people often don't have the capacity to think about what they're saying or projecting onto others in the what if someone was talking about me this way. If anybody got on to the screen and said, all Black women are the same. I mean, you find one, you've had them all. They will lose their minds. It's unfair. It's unrealistic to think that every person you come in contact with, because of the amount of melanin in their skin, is going to be the same. I think it is a clickbait, if you will. But more than that, I think two things can be true. One, that's not the truth, but she can be coming in contact with a whole bunch of men who treat her the same. And I think that has more to do with who she is than who the people of the world are. And unfortunately, most women don't understand that. When you find yourself dating the same guy over and over and over again, you have to self-reflect. What is about me that's attracting the same person, and what is about them that I am attracted to? Because that is what you have to unlock and dig into.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. Like, it's a very one-sided thing. We know that Black women do not like to be generalized. Like, they can't stand it. Even if you never use the word all, they are very much like, don't say all. Make sure it's some. Like, they don't want that. But when it comes to Black men, again, your experience that you have had bad experiences, it goes into this idea. So again, are we now saying that Black men are the only men in the world who are capable of just not doing their best, not making good decisions? Because you're saying that they're all cheaters, they're all liars, like date everybody else but them. So we're now saying that white men are perfect. We're saying that Hispanic men are perfect, Asian, like we're just now saying that everyone is perfect but Black men, and we know that that's not the case. But again, it goes back to that point which you just pointed out, that is your personal experience. And we don't ever want to look at, okay, if I feel like Black men are trash, and I got to sit back and look at the last few Black men that I've dated, I have to now self-assess. And that's going to require me to be like, okay, what are you doing wrong? But that's where we don't want to sit there and do that.
Oh no, I would actually say that in general, and I don't like generalizations, but the youth of today, if we're just going to generalize, the youth of today does not at all like to self-evaluate and say, hey, where am I wrong? Where am I messing up? And how can I improve? It's always the you did me wrong, you. And I think that's where a lot of people, unfortunately, are going to miss out. In the long run, they're only hurting themselves. So it's a tough pill to swallow, but if you do it early and you do the work early, you know, it's definitely possible to turn that around.
Yeah. So since you mentioned doing the work, I remember I had a post sometime last year where I talked about how we are not raised, as many Black women are not raised to do the work to get a man. And they were like, oh my gosh, like I wish I would work hard for a man. Like they took it very much literal, right? Like I'm not doing the work to get a man. I wish I would. Like and it's like in reality, right? If you do the work on you, I believe that we attract who we are for a lot of us. Like you're getting what you're putting out. So if you do the work on yourself to get the man that you want, you can get better results. But they just couldn't understand like doing the work, or again, when you work on yourself and you act, because I know we all say I'm doing the work, I'm healing, but when we really put the action in behind this stuff, it really can pay off. But I think we get so caught up in the language, the verbiage, and
I think the biggest thing is to differentiate. Doing the work implies the here and now, self-assess and fix. But healing implies a trauma or something has happened before. I need to reflect on what that was, dig into it, but it's done. It's already, it's in the past. Right. This is not a thing that you go forward with. So people need to understand, women in general, Black women in general, also need to understand, like, it's not meant, when you say do the work, those words were chosen because it's labor intensive, like, and it's difficult. It's not a merry-go-round. It's self-assessment. If you can say, you know what, I want to improve my exterior, so I'm going to save money so I can get a BBL, so I can get the hair extensions and I can get my nails done. You're doing the work already in one area. Why wouldn't you put forth that effort to say, this is the kind of man that I want? What kind of woman does he want? And how can I become that type of person? I think people, yes, we're taking it too literal because it's it's not a literal journey, but also it's the fact that people are supposed to grow and change. Your ideas, your thoughts, what you once did and choices that you made before don't have to mark your future path. But it's unrealistic to say, I'm going to stay exactly who I am, exactly how I am, and every man who has not chosen me before is suddenly going to want me because I say it's time, I'm here, I have arrived. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And it's the idea too of, again, this whole like, I'm the table, I'm the plate, I'm the all of that entree, table, plate nonsense.
Yeah.
Really, again, it takes us away from that. So again, as you pointed out, when we can really strategize in other areas, getting the degrees, we got to do the work to get that. We have to do work in all aspects. We got to do work to get the job. We got to do work to just be fit. But that piece of it, especially when it comes to Black men, and again, just the way that you were raised, what you grew up hearing, what you grew up seeing, it is a very much it's no way. Like you're just raised almost just accept me as I am, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you get is what you're supposed to accept.
And I think people put a lot of weight on that too, though. Like,
absolutely.
And I'll just share this tidbit for myself. My parents divorced. My mom waited until I hit 18 before she decided to file for divorce because she didn't want to put kids and all of that through everything. And both of them parted ways, and both of them are, they're great together. They're just not great married.
Yeah.
I think if I were to look at my childhood and say, oh, because my parents separated, because, my dad did X, Y, and Z, that's kind of the excuse as to why I am the way that I am. I have two choices as an adult. I can say, okay, this is not the outcome that I want. So how am I going to proactively change that for myself? Or I can say, this is what I've seen. Let me just sit in this is how I am and how I'm going to be. And I think too many people are saying, this is how I was raised. This is what I saw. So this is all I know. That's not all you know. That's all you're choosing. It's a choice.
It's a choice. No, it very much is. And I think even to this in that particular person, I was able to have an actual conversation with her in person regarding that statement, or those statements. Well, it was, again, when you got to the root of it, she was bringing up her father wasn't a good father, the men that she had dated. So it's like, okay, cool. Again, as you said, like, you have to speak from your experience. Like my experience, I haven't had a good experience with Black women, but you're making it very generalized. It is all of them. And you should date other men outside of your race if you want better results. Where again, and I'm gonna get into one of the clips because I think one of the clips asks a question like, how do you even know? Like, you never dated out your race, so how do you even know that they're better? Like, you know what I'm saying? So that always, when they make these comments about date outside your race, they're better. But it's like, have you ever dated anybody outside your race? And they're like, no. I'm like, so how do you, like, you don't even really have, like, you're going off of what you see, what you think it might be, you know, the idea of it. And it's tough. And I think that, again, when we get into this conversation about doing the work and trying to get you to see, like, okay, are you projecting? Are you hurt? Are you frustrated with yourself that you've ended up in this situation again? And now it's coming out in this, you know, this very outward way. But I'm going to share this second clip because it's again, we have these very generalized statements. And I think it just deters the conversation, honestly. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of Black women, they just gravitate to it because that's what a lot of them have experienced. So it just sucks them right on in. It's like, yep, I'm right with, you know. So it is that to me really is the sad part for me, to be quite honest. So let me just go back. Okay, here we go.
When I say this, but from my personal experiences, from what I went through as a woman, I can say with confidence today that I would not be dating another Black man no time soon, for a lot of reasons. But I'm gonna just state the obvious: they do not take care of their children. And no, I'm not talking about just paying child support. It takes more than just paying child support to raise a child. Most of y'all have a problem with money, and a lot of y'all do not make good financial decisions. A lot of y'all are not reliable. Y'all not responsible. Most of y'all have a problem with supporting y'all women. Y'all want us to pay half of the bills, sleep with you, clean, cook, take care of the kids. No. Also, a lot of y'all are still mama's boys. I'm sorry, but y'all are still clinging to y'all mama's titty. Y'all involve y'all mama on every single thing, especially when it comes to y'all relationship. I really feel like a lot of y'all lack ambition. Y'all lack being go-getters. And to be clear, I'm not saying all Black men are like this. That's not what I'm saying. My prerogative, and it's my preference. I will be passing on dating a Black man.
Alrighty. So, as she stated, it is her preference, her prerogative. I agree. The thing that tripped me up is you follow up with the end and say it's not all Black men, but then I'm also not going to date Black men. So it's like, why not? If it's not all, why not focus on the ones who are not what you describe? Because, and I just dropped a video on my I dropped it this morning if anyone wants to watch the video regarding more details of that particular video. But if we get into the statistics about some of this stuff, and we can combat a lot of this stuff, because a lot of us as Black women, Black people, I'll say, we've been programmed to believe what they made us believe about Black men, from the music videos to the movies to like very stereotypical ways about Black men. And I remember, I want to say like last year or maybe the year before last, my husband had asked me like, how many Black men do I think are in prison? And I was like, maybe like 40%, 50%. And he just asking everybody. And I'm like, because again, we hear all these Black men are in prison. When in reality, there's only 3 to 4% of Black men are in prison out of the total population of Black men. Are we the highest number in prison amongst all race? Yes. But out of all Black men, the 20 million in the United States of America, there's only 3 or 4% that are in prison. So take those 3 or 4% out of the 20 million, you have a whole lot who are out in the streets. So it's like, oh my God, like I thought it was all these Black men, like, because that's what we hear there, you know, like it's so many Black men are in prison, so many Black men are in prison. And then we go into the fathers, like fatherhood. Half of Black men don't even have kids, more than half.
Yeah, they are. And I hate to say this, but the biggest thing that I took away from this is that she seems to be dating the same type of man over and over. And I wish that women would just think through some of these decisions. One, what I saw on there is that she was talking about husband material, but I'm questioning why you're talking about living together and kids and all these other things before we're getting anywhere with marriage. Like there's a reason that you're supposed to be doing these steps along the way. And I'm not saying it's perfect. But can we try to at least stick
Yeah.
somewhere close to that.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is, at the end of the day, as a woman, if I'm dating a man who has 3, 4 kids by 3, 4 women, what I'm understanding is that this is not a man who is committing. He, for whatever his reason, maybe he's dating the same type of person. But what I do know is if I am not looking to be baby mama number whatever, I'm not going to open myself up to dating this man. The same man is fathering most of these kids. As you said, it's not all of these Black men having kids everywhere, fathering children. These women are going after the bad boy. They're going after the thrill, the fun. And I get it, but you're going to continue to get the same results. These guys are not lying to these women either. They're not pretending they're going to marry you. You went along for the ride and thought you were so special you would change him maybe. But is it your fault for doing that, or is it his fault? It seems to me if you're aware of it, you know what you're getting into, you're making these decisions, and now you're mad at him for your choices.
Yeah. No, you hit it on the nose, and that's the thing that I think I've gotten a lot of backlash for, because I'm just like, these stories about how y'all don't ever know what's going on, and he tricked me, and I'm just like, if you like, men are showing you, if maybe their words are not saying it, but you got to look at the action. And if you, again, like you said, if you see a man with multiple children by multiple women, why would you even set yourself up to be in a situation to be the third, the fourth, mother of his child, right? So when you say he's Black men don't take care of their kids, that Black man who you dated with 4 baby mamas and 5 kids, and he barely had money for that, yes, that might not be a good father. But the reality is there are a lot of Black men who don't have kids, and we being all the way honest, a lot of these Black women don't want those men. They don't want the men with no kids. Somehow they stay in that same bubble of the popular hood guy, like they're in that same, I call it the dirty water. Like you're in that same dirty water with the same recycled men. And you could go out into the other pool where there's more options, more choices, more things, but you choose not to. So, and then in turn, what do? You say things like this, like the men don't take care of their kids. They again, even we go to the white conversation, they want us to pay bills and it's like, oh my God, pay a bill. Oh my God, clean up the house. Like, they want us to clean and cook. And it's like, that is like so torturous when they, and they make it seem so like, I wish I would. So again, the question is, like you said, what men are you dating?
Yeah.
What men are you? What are you doing? Are you dealing with a man who hasn't committed to you and wants all of this? But again, why would a man commit to you if he doesn't really have to? There's no requirements to do so.
Yeah. If a man, and so here's the thing, to your point, they're staying in the same pool of dirty water and they're not going to the other pond, lake, ocean, because they'd have to change things about themselves to be accepted there, and they don't want to do that. But then they have to understand that at the end of the day, the men in the rest of the world, they are going to expect certain things. They're going to look for things that are going to be wife material. And if you don't want to have to become wife material, if that's what you're running from, then you're not actually looking for a husband.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we're saying the word, but you're not actually looking.
You don't want to do the work. You don't want to, because the men that you want, they don't want you. And ladies who are watching,
they'll tell you.
I'm not being mean. I've said this before. They don't want you. They would want you if you did the work on yourself, but because you won't do the work on yourself, you won't have a chance. So unfortunately, you're going to get the same men in that dirty pond who will sleep with you, who will entertain you, who will spend your money, who will do all the things that you don't want him to do. But unfortunately, if you never do the work on yourself, you're going to continue to have this mentality that Black men are bad. I'm not dating them. I'm done with them. I don't care about them. They're cheaters. They're liars, because you keep landing with the same men who are cheaters, who are liars, and who don't have it's almost to the point where, again, in our minds, that what you pointed out earlier, that we think we have some type of superpower that's going to make a man change for you. Like you really think you have that superpower, and you don't.
Yeah, not at all. A man is going to settle down when he wants to, not because some magical being walks across his path. At the end of the day, men will turn down and turn away and play with tons of women who could be tens across the board. And when they're ready, that next one could be a 7 and he will settle down because she came at the time when he was ready to settle down. No magic is going to make that happen. And I wish that women would understand that. Again, if they had other older women in their in their arena talking to them or even listening to them, then it would be different. When I try to spread any of this information, just saying, hey, don't miss your shot because you're so busy being blinded by the foolishness. It's, oh, you're such a pick me. It's just all the negative. There's no, oh, well, let me hear it out. Let me grow. Let me try. There's not an ounce of that. So to a certain extent, women are going to have to be like, what's her name? Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, who is now going to be 42 again and says that she's suddenly realized that she is ready for commitment. But the question is, are men who have now heard all of what
oh my God.
She's been on a microphone and on a tour. Are men that she wants going to be interested in her with all of what they now understand about her?
Exactly. Yeah. And again, and the crazy part about it is, like you said, when women like you and I speak, when you say, hey, I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to just give you some advice. And and I've had women tell me, I married the first man who wanted to marry me. It's like, that's what to be installed. Like, I don't know enough. I've only been with my man. And I'm just like, well, what, like, why do you need to talk to someone who's been done dirty 50,000 times? Like, why do we need to hear, like, it's even our brains are brainwashed because I've been with my husband since I was 18. That's when I met him. We officially got together. So I've been together for a long time. So I don't feel like just because I didn't get ran through by multiple men and have this very trauma-filled story and this whole, I feel like that's what we gravitate more to because it's maybe more relatable. But I also want to say, like, hey, you don't necessarily have to go through all of that to find your person. You don't, if you're intentional and if you are like, no one's perfect, you can have your, troublesome dating experiences, but we don't have to go through that. I have to be broken down by men to find my Prince Charming type of thing. But I think that that's where a lot of Black women, that's all they ever have known. They don't really see women who like get with a man, he does pretty good and it works out, is more of the opposite. So when you're saying, hey, I've been with this man for a long time, I can give you some tips, some pointers, whatever, they're like, no, you can't, girl, you know what you're talking about, it's all of that,
I wish that women understood, it was what it was for a reason, but women now think that their power is in saying yes. Their power is in, I'm going to be with all these men because I said yes. I'm going to go to all these places and I'm going to be flown around and basically you're being used up by men saying all this yes. But, you think you have the power. The power is in saying no. The power is in saying you can't have access to me until we get to a certain point and limiting yourself. There is power in exclusivity. And at the end of the day, that has always been a rule. And no matter how many times you have women coming out who have already run themselves through the mud, saying, get out there and enjoy yourself, you're not walking away from those encounters feeling better about yourself. You walk away from those encounters feeling less than, feeling used up. And no matter how much we try to brainwash ourselves, we are women at the end of the day. Men are wired that way. They can have a transactional encounter and be perfectly happy and feel great about it. But women, we're just not that way. If we're being honest with ourselves, we need to reclaim our power in understanding no boundaries, exclusivity, and what all of that means.
Yeah. No, but you're right. It's a lot of, I want to have the power in that way. And we've taken liberation a whole different angle. We've taken, standing on business, all these like very stupidity, type of sayings just to, like you said, to feel like I have the right to say, I said yes, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what I want to do. And because there's also that side of, again, as you said earlier, that women are telling you that you should be doing this and you shouldn't be settling down and you should have options. You should do all this, so you have all of that deters you from being able to, like, you have a good man in front of you. He wants to commit to you. He is, he meets your qualifications, but at the same time, you have someone in your ear saying, hey, you can get more. He should be better, you know, like
Mhm.
I don't know how much of like you're involved in like the YouTuber, but like I remember on I want to say it was Kendra G's show. Was it Kendra G? Where the woman talked about how she wants a man who's ambitious. And if I'm wrong, somebody in the comments let me know, because if you guys know what I'm referring to. She wants a man who's ambitious. And she was I guess I don't want to say dating, but she met a guy who was a doctor. And she asked him like, what else is he doing? He's like, what do you mean what else?
Yeah,
Like
he needs to have side hustles and all the rest of it. It's like, what?
It's like, what is wrong with us? Like what is wrong with you? Like, you know, like fake stuff. We don't even know. That's the thing. We don't even know a good man if we saw one. Like that is where we are as like we don't even know men.
Most women have encountered a man who they should have married.
Yes.
A man who would have made them so happy, most women, and have turned them away. And then they never get that moment back. And that's just what it is. It's unfortunate. As much as women are now being told that they have all this power, at the end of the day, men are the ones who are going to choose.
Yeah.
You get to say yes or no, for sure.
Yeah.
But you can't make a man choose you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just like, it's no way. It's no way. At that point, it's like, yeah, I'm done. Like, it's enough. What more can you say to a person when you think that you're like, I need more? And that's another thing too, that we're never satisfied. Like, we're living a time now where social media has really clouded our judgment. We've put a lot of pressure on Black men because we want more and more and more and more. So you feel like, well, I need more. And you see women who are divorcing their husbands because they're bored and it's not enough. And it's like,
oh my goodness,
insanity, because you're never you know, like you're not satisfying. You think that is better on the other side. We have unfortunately like a Tia Mari who, you know, left her good husband.
And celebrated it. Like,
so here we go, this light, and celebrated it, you know, left her husband, her good. Like, I don't think we've ever heard, at least I never heard anyone talk bad about Corey, come out with any allegations about him cheating. Like, there was nothing. Now, again, not saying that they were perfect, but whatever they dealt with in their marriage, it was done in private, and I love that for them. So the fact that she came out, like you said, celebrated, I ain't never heard nothing so crazy in my life before. But again, we love these very what is it, like catchy words like graduation, and we know Cheyenne with her low functioning and her vertical horizon. It's just too many words, you know, even all the, it's just so much. So we unfortunately, when you are a woman who is so like you, anything that goes against traditional families, nuclear families, we just gravitate to it, you know. So that for them is like, yes, that's what it is. It's you're graduating, you're not supposed to be stuck together forever. And now, unfortunately, look. And again, I don't know what she wants, but from what we see on social media with her TV show, like she can't find a good man. She's not having the luck that she thought she would have.
Yeah,
and don't look like that's what I don't want for us. I don't want that to be our story.
There's so many of them. There's so many women out here, unfortunately, who are single, who are telling women that, you know, the grand scheme of things is that they can find whatever it is later in life. And the reality is you can't. And we know that because, well, let's look at Vivica Fox. Let's look at any of the many women who are out here who are now in their 40s or 50s who were telling everybody how great it is to be single. Of course, it's great to be single when you are a 10 and you've got money and all these men are giving you attention. But what is that going to look like when you're older? That's why you grow old with someone, because you're never going to beat your 20-year-old self when you're in your 50s. I don't care what you do. So you have to be realistic. As much as women are constantly looking for more, that greed, that lust, we are supposed to be able to control that. We are supposed to, you know, women are constantly talking about how men in particular over sexualize everything. And in reality, women do the worst of it and do it on huge public platforms, talk about it, brag about it, but it's acceptable because it's women doing it. And we think it's cool and it's cute, and it's not. And if you look at their lives later on in life, they're not happy. They're not excited. They're sad and they're lonely, and men no longer are interested. Why would you want that life?
Yeah.
We should be looking at anybody that you're going to ever take advice from. You should look at their life, and if you want the outcomes that they have, sure, ask for tidbits. But if they don't have the outcome that you're looking for in all facets, no, you should
Yeah.
probably move right along.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and that's a big piece for me with like starting my content was like I don't want young girls to end up like a Vivica Fox or, like just because we're programmed to believe you have all this time,
Mhm.
and all this time. Again, you're young and we get it. Like you're young and you're growing, and even the whole idea, well, you don't, you need to find yourself. What does that even mean? Like even just that whole regular finding yourself and
Yeah.
living your life. And like I
No,
went to
it doesn't
college.
serve you. When it stops
Exactly.
serving you, that's when you should leave it.
I went to college. I had a great time. I did my partying in college, and that's all. I didn't need anything else. Like I didn't need another party in my life. Like that was. I went for the experience. I got it, and I
Yeah.
enjoyed myself. And I and I had my husband, boyfriend at the time, and it just was cool. Like, I didn't feel any pressure to necessarily fall victim, and I'm thankful that I didn't fall victim to the idea of why you settling down or why does it, you should be out here, you should be doing doing all those things. So I'm grateful that I didn't, but many women do. Many women fall. You go to college saying, don't focus on no boys, don't be getting tied down, get your education. True, but we never are told to not sleep around. People are sleeping around in college, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So we are saying don't get tied down, but no one's saying don't sleep around, don't get pregnant, don't be distracted. So we kind of just get caught up in that idea that it's all this time, and then you have the Vivicas, the Claudia Jordans, the Lisa Ray, like there so many of those women, and it's so crazy because I look at the I don't know if Angela Bassett and I wonder if they're in the same age group, like Angela Bassett and Vivica Fox, but like all of like you have those women who are like okay, yeah. So you have like those women who been with their husbands since they were young, like when they were in their career starting. So they were married. You got, Denzel Washington and his wife. They were married for so many years. And but then you have the woman who came after, the Nia Longs, the Vivica Foxes, like, and they're not married. Like none of them, like none of them. Vivica was married early on. She divorced him. Gabrielle Union, she's been married a few times, I believe. I think she's been married twice, three times.
I think she was married at least twice for sure.
Okay. So you have, and the thing is, like, yes, gratefully she got remarried, but we don't really see many women in their late 30s, early 40s in that world getting married. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's where we as Black women in our like the normal world, we see like, well, she did it when she was 40. She did it when she like, yes, it can happen. No one's denying that. But why chance waiting for it to possibly happen when you're 40 if you can make it happen when you have the ability when you're younger? Like why wait? You know what I'm saying?
And it's interesting too, because we talk about college days and the experience of it all, but a lot of other cultures, they send off their daughters and say, hey, college is where you find your husband. And that is the whole point. You find your husband when you're young, you're both on the same playing field and you grow together. That's the whole point. And I think it's very interesting and unfortunate that in the Black community, it's like the opposite message. Like you're supposed to go out here, you're supposed to spread your legs, have fun, do it all, and hope that you don't catch something you can't give back. Hope you don't get, baby mama number 1, 2, 3 title and see what happens when you hit your 40s. I think it's so backwards. It's doing a disservice to the community. I think there are so many great Black men, but I think that in a lot of cases, they come across women who will do them wrong, do them dirty on purpose because they're young, tear them down. And just like anyone else, they get scorned and they get changed. And so you come across these men when they're now in their 30s and they've got some money in their pocket and you see a different version of them. I don't think it's fair to say that this is how all of these Black men are because they didn't start this way. I think that they become this way because women in our community changed you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they changed you for the worse. And I think if we started pouring into Black men when they're younger, if we started sending our daughters to college saying, this is where you're going to find your husband, so make sure that you're making good decisions. If we started treating our youth like, you know what, this is where we build each other up and we work together, we wouldn't have as many broken homes. We wouldn't have as many problems in our community. But it starts with our words. It starts with what we're speaking into each other. And right now, our community is just all about tearing each other down and kicking each other down.
I mean, they told me I was a terrible mom because I said I'm raising my daughter to be a wife. They were like, how? Like, oh, you're so male-centered. And it's like, this is something that's important. Whenever she talks about being, she's 6, but whenever she talks about life and getting older, she says she wants to stay home till she gets married. I'm like, yes, you can stay home till you get married. When she's literally, my dog, I have a dog and she's old, and I'm like, there's no more dogs. If she goes, when she goes, we're not getting no more dogs. And she was like, well, I want a new dog. When I get older, I'll get a dog. I said, yeah, when you get she said, well, I'll ask my husband to buy. I said, yes, when you get a husband, you can ask your husband to buy you a dog, right? So these conversations around, like, anytime we reference older, like having children, I would emphasize when you get married, you have a husband, this is what husband and wives do, so I try to make sure I emphasize, yes, it's like, no, I'm not sitting her down at 6 years old saying, hey, okay, baby, when you get a man, no, it's more about the character, like who you are as a young woman, and build again, because you attract what you are, you attract how, the type of man that you want. So I believe that a wife doesn't just wake up one day and just become a wife, like this is something that you are creating these characteristics that you need to be, someone who can be a forgiving person, a apologetic person, a caring person, a kind, like those are things that wives possess, that a lot of women are very conniving, very evil, very mean, like it's just a very toxic type of mentality. So like a man wanting to marry you and you have this very hard exterior. I even saw this post of this younger guy talking about how Black women, like even the way that they communicate in text messages is very aggressive. Like it's like I'm talking to another man. It's like even that is just so hard to decipher. Like I don't want to. So again, like you said, you have men who are like, I'm trying to be nice to these women. I'm really trying to give my best. I'm trying to spoil them. I'm trying to, and they are making it so hard. So again, I'm not excusing that behaviors that men might do, but again, as you said, people change based on what is happening, what they've experienced. And if I've been trying to be nice, like the nice guys, women don't like the good guys. Like that saying they like the bad boys, that is very true. It's a very, very true statement, and it's unfortunate. I'm going to share this next clip real quick because I love the fact that this woman pointed this out in reference to what we were discussing. And yes, I see the comment. I did put a video up about the older guy in the grocery store. If you guys want to see the full video on my channel, but yes, it was very disrespectful. Like even just that, like them arguing about why they don't have to say hello, and it's just common courtesy is completely lost. So again, when you see the bad Black men that respond to you in a not so good way, ask yourself, are they bad men or did they just respond to you how you responded to them? Like it's a, you know what I'm saying? So, and again, I'm not saying that people deserve to be disrespected. I'm not saying that at all for anyone listening, but I just want us to know that people just go off of what they are, and it's again, it's learned behaviors. It's unfortunate, but let me share this clip for you guys.
They're all the same, just in different fonts.
Hold on.
Who's gonna tell the girl that said, you look so much happier, I stopped dating Black men, that they're all the same, just in different fonts? Men are men. Does not matter what color they are. And then I have this little tingly feeling that the people that's talking like this have never even dated anything other than Black men. So how do you even know? I ain't ever tried it, but I have friends and a sister that didn't try it, and she said, baby, I'm going back to the other side. She tried to date a white man, and he was just as player and full of crap as the Black men. So she went back and took her chances with the Black men. It's okay to test the waters and be like you want to try all different flavors, but to completely try to write off Black men like there's not some good Black men out there, no ma'am, because it's just not true. And I don't normally put y'all in my business, but I got me a Black educated king around here. Respectful boss man. So just remember, it is slim pickings of good men out there, period, overall. So stop being bitter. Your person will find you. Be patient. You don't gotta be bitter and nasty.
So I love that. I love that she was able to kind of give the side of it's not just one man compared to what the first video I shared. It was very much they're bad cheaters, they're liars, But what are your thoughts in that regard?
So I do like that she pointed that out, but I will also say that there is a lot of empathy and slack that's given for women who have had terrible experiences, and there is little to none for men who have had terrible experiences. And I think it's unfortunate. I have 4 sons, and I am raising them to identify early on the red flags so that you don't have to go down this road of getting yourself hurt and then eventually jaded. But that's just not the story for most men. Men are told they have to go out there and they have to be tough and they have to know it all and have it all and give it all. And I think we as a whole saying men are bad, and in that she's alluding to, like, there's a lot of good men, but there's a lot of bad men. There's not. There are people in general who have had negative experiences, and sometimes we have to give grace and we have to understand that you can turn that around. I go out of my way to speak to people when I see that somebody looks like they're having a bad day and they hold the door open for me. It's kind of like I'm holding the door, but I can almost expect you not to speak. And I'm like, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And you will see them light up like, oh yeah, no problem. Because they really don't expect it. And I want men not to look at women like, oh, this one's going to be giving me an attitude. Oh, this one just wants something from me. But we should be changing the narrative in general. And it shouldn't be that there are like certain behaviors we need to expect from men. Yes, we need to identify red flags, but men will also mirror the behaviors, or they will do what you allow them to do.
Exactly.
So how about we start setting some boundaries, meaning it, and then they will behave accordingly because we have and are what they want. Period.
Yep. And I've said this before. If you guys have watched me, I always say this all the time, that we set the standards. Men will do what they are allowed to do. And if we decide to change up all the things that we are doing, they will conform because they want women. If they're a man who dates women, they will conform. But if they're allowed to run wild and just do all the things because they've been allowed to do it, they're going to do it. They don't have to commit. They don't need to do it. But when the right woman comes along who says, no, man, no, sir, you got to do this, you got to do that, you will see the difference. This is why women when they say things like, oh, the black men who left and went dating a white woman because she puts up with all the nonsense, and they tell themselves those crazy things. It's just a difference of how the person is treated that makes them want to commit, that makes them want to do something different than they've done before. And it's like I think a lot of black men I've seen black men talk about, that wasn't their choice. They weren't necessarily looking for a white woman or a Hispanic woman, or there are men who grew up in that neighborhood and that's just what they've always been attracted to per se. But there's men who they ended up in that situation, fall into it somehow based on just, again, kindness, attention, love, care, and it's like, I wish that this could be my story with my black family, my black children, and I've said this before, it's scary. And I know some people they did not like this. It did go viral, but I fear the direction that our children are going into and how they're being raised, at least amongst just black people all over the world. In America, my son is 13. And I say all the time that I would love to have a beautiful black daughter-in-law and have black grandchildren, but I don't know what that will look like for my son in another 5 to 7 years of what the options of black women are going to look like for him, knowing the type of child that he is. He's not like all of the popular things, like he's into like anime and all of that type of stuff. So he's like, so I don't know. So I'm very worried about him, and just like you said, raising a good young black man, and just having that discipline and want to protect him, because that it's not necessarily the child's fault. It's her mother or her father who raised her to be this way. And now it's, who is my son going to encounter that, like you said, who could potentially change him? him to be a man that he doesn't want to be, or he has to go into defense mode, or he has to protect himself from his own people. Like, so it's or just have this, I hate black men. And you start hearing this at a young age for young black boys. And it's like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? So it's it's so hard, man.
It really is. And I think just touching on one other thing, because it was brought up earlier, but the idea of like the mama's boys, I find it really interesting that women hate mama's boys so much, because they always tell you, at least the older generation would tell you, that if you want to know how a man is going to treat you, look at how he treats his mother. So I find it interesting because, truth be told, my husband was a huge mama's boy. And he is still very much that way. But he has kind of switched from his clinging to her with certain things to clinging to me. And I think if you nurture that part of men, because they need someone who will allow them to be themselves, who will protect them, who will protect their feelings. And if that person is only his mother, of course he's going to be a mama's boy.
Right. That's all. He was only raised with her. He didn't have anybody else. Right.
A man is going to go out there, hopefully having a great relationship with his mother, clinging to that, and he will look for someone he can then transfer that to. And if you find that a man is a mama's boy and you've been with him for 5 years, baby, it's because you're not his safe place. So it's because you're doing something wrong.
Oh my God. Yes.
And it's like women keep villainizing men and weaponizing these things against them, instead of taking that and saying, hey, you know what? Maybe there's something I could be doing that would help shift this, that would make this better for us. We never want to do that. It's just pointing fingers, while at the same time being a daddy's girl.
Yes. It's so funny because I talked about this earlier in my video, that my theory with the mama's boy conversation is I believe that there are women out here who almost will prefer the man to have a bad relationship with his mother, so the way that she has full control. Like there's no one to come in out the picture who will never like give him advice that could potentially threaten you. You know, like I said, there's that, like you said, when you use it, it's like, why do y'all get so mad about that? But you are almost threatened by the idea that he can have a good mother who loves him, who cares about him, who's going to give him advice, and who's going to make him pay attention to certain things. And you know what I'm saying? So they want to get, they don't like that. Like you said, they're always in the relationship business. Now, again, there are, and I've said this before, there are mothers out here who their sons become like their husbands, and they have this very, dynamic where it becomes a codependent, and I don't want nobody to have my son. That does exist. We know that for sure. But there's another side of mothers who are like, I know my son is a good man. I know that he's going to be successful. I know that where he's going. So I'm very cautious of who comes into his space. And if I see something, I'm going to tell my son. I'm going to let him know. And they don't want that. They are used to, again, they're used to the men who probably, have a rocky relationship with their mother. They can become that. And then this is the thing about it, right? You don't want him to have a relationship with his mom, but then you also don't want to be his mama. I'm not his mama. So like, either you like, what do you want? What do you want? Or his grandma, right? Like whoever. So it's very like interesting that they, like you said, they weaponize it, or they try to use it as a bad thing. When it, like you said, I never even thought about that idea of like, why is he still only calling his mom? Why is still only like, why aren't you that, like you said, that comfort? Why? Because I've been the same way, like very much with his mom, and it becomes a thing where like you are able to kind of fill those spaces and like, give that comfort that he's been looking for, like to, like not replace, but you know what I mean? Like now I have my wife now, and my mom, and I am grateful that I have an amazing mother-in-law, and just all the things. She's someone who's like, I don't get into business, but she will say things, that she needs to say. But again, I think some of these women are just, again, they're not used to having men who have good, solid mothers. And they're not used to that. And what does that? Because they're not used to having a good, solid mother themselves. So they don't even know what a good mother looks like. What a mom who cares about her son, a mom who's protective of her son, a mom who's able to read between the lines and have that balance, but also like You know what I'm saying? So it's a very do you know the what is is it a football player? I don't know. It's a football player and his mom is very protective of him.
Oh yes, and she goes on the dates and all that. Yes.
Like she is like, so that's
that. I support her because these gold diggers are out here for one reason.
That's a whole nother ballpark. So she's like, oh no, but you ain't get my son. He gonna have all the confidence. You're not my son. You ain't get, like, it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? So that's a mother who was trying to protect, because again, it may have just been them two. I'm making sure that he don't lose all we worked hard for to get him here, to not have no woman coming, because all these young Black men they're all having a bunch of kids, and it's like these men are 20
kids, false accusations. I mean, they're trying to get it all. And I think it's so from a woman's perspective, and as a mother, my job is to protect my son and all that I have poured into him until he comes in contact with a woman that he feels is going to be his wife, and I can trust to hand him over to her. As much as a father has to do that, a woman has to do that as a mother as well. And I think the whole idea behind family and family structure, it's cute. People love to say, oh, I'm family oriented. No, you're not. If you are out here disturbed and upset about a man, and not a crazy extremist, man having a healthy, positive relationship with his mother, and that being the woman in his life, I would prefer, as a woman who was dating, I would prefer that his safe place is his mother over, oh, here's my best friend who I'm going to take with me and call for everything. That, yes, would cause issues. But your mother, that should be the safest of safe places.
Yeah.
And I just think it's crazy for a man. And I tell my sons this: if a woman is turned off by the idea that you have me here and that I have to know her and that I have to feel comfortable, she's not the one.
She's not the one. Yeah.
First red flag and all the red flags that we need to know that it's not going to work out well.
Yeah. And it's so right, because like you said, people don't think about the side of the, like, we know the wedding, the father gives the daughter away, but again, like you said, it's the same thing. Like, that's my son, that's my baby, you know, like again, I'm the woman that he's looking at me growing up. He's watching me. He's probably looking to see certain characteristics that he wants in a woman that hopefully he gets from his mother. And like those small things that we underestimate and we don't think about, that's important when it comes down to, like you said, I have to know that I can trust you to carry this role, to be the woman in his life. You know, I was telling my son last year in school, he had like he got hit in the mouth with something, like, I don't know, they were playing outside and he had like his lip was really swollen, and a little girl in his class that I don't know, he said that she may have liked him or maybe not. And I said I had asked him, like, did she notice your lip, because it was super big. So I'm like, I don't know how she couldn't. I think my husband had said something about like liking her, and he said, well, how would I know she likes me? And I said, well, if you walk in that classroom with your lip super big like that, a girl who likes you would come over to you and say, hey, are you okay? What happened? I'm like, yes, you guys are only in 7th grade, but those are signs that if you think about just the care of you, like, oh my God, it's there. Like, you can't miss it. Like, that small thing of like, hey, are you okay? You know, like, what happened? Like, now I'm not saying every girl who does it likes you, but I was just trying to get from the conscience of like someone who would, you know, show some interest in your safety. That's a way that you can tell, like, okay, maybe she might care about me a little bit. She might like me a little bit, you know. So like, these are things that we need to make sure that we're giving those very caring, loving things that you want your sons to understand or your daughter to understand at a young age. They get to understand, like, these are things that a person does when they have interest in you. They show compassion, show care. You know what I'm saying? So
men don't just wake up and know that, and they have to be taught just like girls have to be taught. And you know, one of my sons, he was going through a difficult time, and I heard the girl that he really liked tell him that he needed to stop being a bee and man up. And I said, oh, that's a phone number we're going to block.
Yeah.
Because that is not, it's those little subtleties that, and he would have taken it. He would have taken it because, oh, that's just how we talk. Oh, that's just, no, I'm sorry. There's no woman on this earth who is going to tear you down when you're having a difficult time and think that she genuinely cares about you. And even when we're talking about middle school, high school, that young, these are things that you're looking for to run away from. So
Yeah.
Women need to understand, like, if you've got mothers clearly like us,
Yeah.
we're watching this whole time and we're in the back saying what is and is not a good sign.
Yeah.
And the boys who have strong mothers in their lives will grow up to understand what it is to value women and to respect women. And those are the boys that they should be looking for.
Yeah.
Not the bad boy who is out here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah. Yes, because we want to add to the good men. We want to be able to add, because they do exist. It's just, again, it's so much programming, and like you said, it can start from that young in middle school, where you're starting to just accept that this is how we're treated. I say this to the kids all the time, like, this is not normal. Like, this whole like slapping each other, letting the girls hit on you. I'm like, this is not this. I know it becomes like cute but I'm like, this is not how you want to set up the idea of, I was telling one of my students, my old students, I talked to them like 2 weeks ago, and I was just checking in with them, like, how they're doing with dating and stuff. And I was like, they're all about drinking and just all of that. I'm like, I don't know why I want to be so fast, but that's what they want to do. And I said, as it was 2 boys, I said, I want you to know, you want to be very mindful of a girl who is into just drinking and smoke with everyone. I said, a girl who is always about that, she may do that with everybody. She's not that. And they were like, oh my God. I said, you got to think about that. Like, people who are just down to do with anybody, everybody, like, you want to be mindful about who you decide to date and how they move and how they live their lives. So I even just trying to give them type of information about, like, y'all are good boys, y'all, really doing well. And you get sucked into just the narrative of being like the typical, even the whole lion stuff. I'm like, I just hate the idea of just categorizing these young Black men in these categories and just making everything like it's just a joke or whatever, So it's just unfortunate. I think for me, like I said, I just want to have the conversation to really help women understand, like you said, that we get in these situations that are unfortunate. But I always say, I'll give you one. You didn't know you okay. But if this is your third, fourth time with the same type of man and the same, like, it's you, it's your choice. It's no one else's. It's not, at this point, it's not even his fault. Like, it's really what you keep allowing, and you keep on falling for the same thing. If it's, you keep getting attracted to the money, clearly, okay, money ain't gonna be the thing that keeps the man treating you right. Like, whatever, like, so you got to really look at the things that keep you in this situation where you decide, I'm not dating Black men anymore. What got you to that point? And look at, okay, what happened with the men that I've been dating? And maybe, again, like you said, I got to self-reflect, but that takes a lot of work. It does,
But I think if they start doing the self-reflection earlier, and if they put in the work earlier, it's less painful. There's less that you have to dig through. There's less bad habits. There's less walls that you put up that you have to now tear down. So the sooner the better. Everybody's not going to receive this message when, it's prime time and you're in college and too much damage hasn't been done. But wherever you are in the path, start now. Like, why put off what has to be done to get the outcome you want? Why put it off for another moment? Start now.
Yeah. That's all you can do. Like, it's, again, and it really is like, once you lock in, I think the biggest thing, once you lock in on it and you really start to, like, you got to be honest with yourself. That's the biggest piece. Okay, I messed up. I done made some portraits. I didn't choose the right men. I know that now. Because if you keep lying to yourself and saying that it wasn't you and it was all him, you will end up in the same people over and over and over again. So I use, of course, the last few minutes, the lights back out again. I use these photos of just these few: Morris Chestnut, Lawrence Tate, and Omar Epps. These are all married men who've been married to their wives for a very long time. And yes, these are celebrities. But again, we know that there are Black men out here who are married. They are married to Black women. They want to marry. Like, even the idea that Black men don't want to marry Black women, they don't want to be with Black women, that's a lie. They do. They really do. They really want us, y'all. They really, really do. We just make it so hard for them to want us. Like, I really think that we have to realize that they do. And I know that we hear so much conversation about us online, and I think it's really just a cry out for, like, listen to us. We really want y'all, just please listen, but we don't want to. So I really want us to, like, really try to recognize that there's a lot of men out here for us. There's more women than men, right? So we know that, like, there's way more of us at this point than men. But if you stop laying in with the same men the same men who have a bunch of kids, the same men who, just the popular, like even just again, just the stuff that we hear too many times about women choosing these men off of social media. He had a nice car, he had a big chain. Like that's like you're too old with kids, and this is what you're going off of, and you're then coming back saying that I hate black men. Look at what you chose that last man based on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think, and just like I know that you've got to wrap it up, but just to say that part, the chains, the glitz, the glam, the money. I just really want women to understand that if you put a price tag around your neck, men are going to pay for it, and then they'll move on. And that's not a black man thing. That's a men with money thing.
Yeah.
If we stop putting a price tag around our neck, then, maybe men will see you as more than something that can be transactional.
Yeah.
That's a hard message for a lot of women, especially with the music that they're listening to today, the celebrities that they like to follow. But it's the truth. If you can be purchased, someone will purchase you.
Yeah. Yeah. And ladies, we gotta, this is my last thing I'll say. We gotta stop. It's social media. I get it. But you want to be very mindful of what you're saying on social media. You want to be very mindful, especially if you are trying to be intentional with dating. You want to really start to move differently. You want to be very mindful about what you're putting out there, what you're consuming, what you're listening. Like it's really, if you are trying to change and do the work, you got to be mindful of that, because half of us are, it don't even make sense, the stuff that we be saying. And it really contradicts ourselves. And like you said, like a Cheyenne Bryant, she says one thing, she does another. It's like you said, who's going to want to, I didn't heard you talk all this past year. And it's like, okay, who wants to do with that? Like, like I got to really pick through, like, what do I want? You know what I'm saying? Because the minute you say you want may not want you, like you said, like they just don't.
Yeah.
So it's again, I don't know. I just think like Cheyenne Bryant is someone who just grinds my gears sometimes, because I think that she has women in a chokehold right now because all the word salad that has, but I think if we start to really think about, okay, yes, this is a successful woman in the area of like her career. Great. She got it on lock. Like she is everywhere. She is get into the bag. Yes. But in reality, when you are, again, like you said, you are saying you're almost 42 years old. You want a child. You want a husband. You've been engaged multiple times, allegedly. Whatever happened then, why you didn't get married, all the reasons that she said, but now you're saying I want this now, but you're also been running around for a year telling women not to do this, not to do that, not to do this, not to do that, but you're also not doing that yourself.
She's been stringing along a guy for 5 years.
Right. So like, how do you want this, but you also are doing that? And I think that that's where women, so when you get into the conversation around like men or good men don't exist, this woman might have had plenty of good men, but chose to do the complete opposite. Like you said, you probably had your husband before, multiple potential husbands, but you wanted to do this, or you know what I'm saying? So it's like, we got to realize that we got to be mindful of what we're listening to and what we're consuming. And you don't want to get to that age because again, 42 and trying to find a husband. I know, please don't take this the wrong way, ladies who are listening. I'm not saying that anything is impossible, because it is very much possible, but it is much more difficult to be a 42-year-old woman and just find a husband just like that.
And it's even more difficult to say all in 1 year of this great awakening, I'm going to find a husband and have a baby. And if you know anything about life and the reproductive system, it becomes not only more challenging at this age, but it becomes more dangerous. And it's a lot to take on, because when you're talking about trying to now raise an infant in your 40s, you're not the same parent. If we want to talk about being fair, you're not the same parent you could have been when you were younger and had more energy and you could do all the things. So I get it. And I never want to take away from somebody who took a little longer to get there. I just want people to be realistic with themselves, because I know many women who are in their 30s who decide now's my time, and it took a very long time for them to be able to make that dream come true, and a lot of loss along the way. So it is not fair to tell women that, you know what, it's not too late at 42, you can do this too, because statistically, the odds are not in your favor. It doesn't matter how much you want it. Even if you find this great man, it may take a very long time, and it may cost you your life or your health in order to make this dream a reality when you could have just got on board when it was safer.
Yeah. When it was so much better. That's why I really commend Ebony K. Williams for coming back out and kind of telling women, Black women, to not be me. Like, like her deciding to do surrogacy by herself, have it this is not it,
Yeah.
So I commend her for being able to turn the tables and recognize, like, don't be me. Go to college, get your man while you're in college, get the degree, like, don't do something different, because you're now going to be me, 40 years old, having a child by myself, single by choice. Like, that's not the life to live. It's not the life to live at all. So there again, she had a good man. She chose to think she could be the boss, and it didn't work out, and that's just again, I just hate for that to be the story for many of us. So again, I just want us to know that good Black men do exist. You got to just be able to get out of that dirty water and go to a different side. But you have to be, when you get to the other side, you have to be ready to see that it's going to take work. The men are not going to just accept you for just what you've been given, the bare minimum, what you've been given it's going to require you to show up in a different way. It's going to require you to be presentable, be
your best foot forward. Timeless. Be less judgmental. It will require all the things.
Right. Use your manners, like just do the thing that you ain't even had to do all these years. It's going to require a little bit more of you. But that's going to be the best version of you. You know, what you've been given has been very low effort, very bare minimum. Now you're going to be in a position where men are going to require more of you, and you're going to love that version of you because you've never had to use her before, but it's going to make your life so much better. You're going to really flourish, in my opinion.
Yeah, because that's naturally who you were supposed to be.
Yes.
You've just been intoxicated with all the foolishness.
Yes, all the foolishness. Oh, look, the light just popped back on. See it?
Of course, at the end.
No, Elise, this was so good. I really, really appreciate just this conversation, just all of your opinions, and just all of the content that you share. And I think, like you said, it's very difficult to share this information and for women to receive it well. But I think I always look at it like somebody's going to get it. Somebody's listening. Somebody is. Although there comes with a lot of negativity, there are women who are, they are listening and taking heed to it. It takes some time, to let it sink in, but it definitely is something that is important. So, definitely keep going. And I will, you are always welcome back here. Whenever you like to come on, you are welcome to come on anytime.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the invite. It's been great talking with you. Whenever, just let me know. I'm happy to come back on and chat. But I think we just need to keep the conversation going. So many great Black men out there. And I think we as women of color in general, we need to lift those men up. We need to praise them, pour into them, give them our best selves. And if we show up that way, they will show up too.
Agree. Yeah. The chat loves you, so they would love to see more of you. So I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Rock Fresh, for the super chat. I appreciate the support. I really appreciate y'all know that I'm here Tuesdays. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to go live more often throughout the week, but as of now, this is where I am on Tuesday evenings. If you guys have not subscribed to the channel, of course, make sure you guys subscribe. If you missed the full live, you can always go back and watch the replay. Elise, thank you again for being here. You are amazing. I appreciate you. And I hope everyone has a great night. See you guys in the next week for live. And I'll be dropping a new episode, Just a Girl Talk, tomorrow. So everyone have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
So let's talk about it. I'm just a girl.
You know that girl, I am just a girl too.
There's a creator on this app called I'm Just a Girl, and a lot of y'all don't like her.
All the discourse surrounding just a girl, I really have just one question.
And I'm just a girl.
Just a girl.
That lady, I'm just a girl.
No, because y'all are tearing that just a girl a whole new one.
I think the problem with I'm Just a Girl's content,
That just a girl lady, you cannot convince me that she don't hate Black women.